Good morning. This is a walkthrough guide for current issues, assignment 3, and we're looking at contemporary issues. So this assignment requires you to create an audio broadcast. It needs to be done in that kind of format, and you have to do it on 4 contemporary issues, and the list is here. So you can choose 4 from here. You can choose whichever ones you like. It's entirely up to you. The ones we've covered so far are deviance, child protection, or the ones we covered in detail anyway, racism, and gender issues. We've done those in quite a lot of detail. So what do we need to do? If we look at the criteria, we have to describe the effects of 4 contemporary issues on a selected sport. So most of our examples have come through from football. So you might want to stick to that. You don't have to, but you might want to stick to that. So if we did the example of deviance, we'd say, right, deviance, first of all, I'd give a definition of what deviance is. And then I would describe deviance and its effects on football. So I'd look at how football has a gamesmanship in football, so diving, for instance, various different other things that you could consider, and the impact it has, or the effect it has. I'd look at sportsmanship and the effects it has on football, and I'd maybe look at drug use and the effects it has on football. I'd also look at how football has an impact on reducing deviant behaviour, for example, street crime. Once I've described and explained it, what I would do throughout that is I would add specific examples. So, for example, if I'm talking about drug use, I might look at Kolo Touré when he took dieting pills, which actually were banned substances, and I'd look at the effects that that's had on the sport. Probably the effects are likely to be positive because the fact he's caught on a drug that is perceived maybe by some of us as not that serious is good, because the process is highlighting and able to pick up on the fact that athletes or footballers are taking drugs, and therefore it's a banned substance, and they're catching them and they're stopping them. And if you look at it, there's very little reported cases of footballers taking drugs, so there's a positive there. When you get onto your distinction, it's about evaluating. So you have to think about the positives and the negatives of the contemporary issues on your sport. So that drugs use, for instance, if we're looking at deviance, we're looking at drugs use, we can talk about lots of positives and negatives of that. And the fact that we just talked about a positive, that there's procedures in place that stop footballers taking drugs, and if you look at the amount of cases, there are limited cases. However, there is drug use in the sport, and quite a lot of the cases, so if you look at Adrian Mutu and Sean Newton, are recreational drugs, which is cocaine, and that's bad because it's publicised, and then what happens is that some young people might think that it's acceptable to take those recreational drugs when it's not. They are banned substances, they're illegal substances. So that's kind of looking at the positives and negatives, but that's only one element of deviance. You need to go through all of your elements. Okay, and then you move on to your next one. So you go, right, child protection, what is it? Describe the effects of it on your sport, and then explain the effects. Make sure you link all your examples in, and then you evaluate it. And there's lots to evaluate, because actually football now with child protection is at the forefront of the news. Okay, then you do your next one, which might be racism. Okay, look at racism, look at what's happened recently, describe the effects of racism, explain the effects of racism. You could even link a bit of Kick It in there and what it does to help reduce racism in the UK. And then evaluate the effects of it on the sport. Okay, and then finally we come down to gender issues and gender imbalance, and we looked at how females and males may differ, especially in football. So why is the funding different? Why is there less female participants? Why is there less opportunity? But at the same time, if you look at it, there's also a big push for female football, and that we're trying to market it and increase it. So there's the positives. Okay, so you have to just define it, describe it, explain it, use examples, and then finally evaluate it, looking at the positives and the negatives on football if you're doing football. Otherwise, you do it on your sport. I hope that's of help. Any questions, just email me. And then I look forward to listening to them next Friday when they're submitted on the 20th. If you are submitting it, the submission process is that you create an audio recording and it is uploaded to Planet eStream. If you're unsure of doing that, please either see me or the library staff and they will be able to support you with this process. Once you've got it uploaded to Planet eStream, it's literally that you take the link from Planet eStream and you upload that on a document to turn it in, so that when I click on that link, it will bring up your audio recording. Please check your audio recording plays when you click that link. If it doesn't, you're responsible for that and I will deem it as a non-submission, so really make sure that that plays. Hope this has been of help and I shall see you tomorrow.